G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Thursday, the 29th of the 11th, 2018, and the time here is 10:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, before I start off, I apologise for the length of this video, okay? There's a lot to go through. I told you about the Alexander Downer thing, so I'm going to go through that with you again today. Okay, let's do the sponsorship and get that out of the way. This is totally awesome. These guys make golden activated turmeric paste, which is, in my opinion, the best stuff since sliced bread. This stuff not only makes you feel better, it actually makes you better. I wouldn't be advertising if it didn't. Like I said to you, I take it every day, sometimes even twice a day, and it does work, folks. I do not have any knee pain anymore, even if I work on it all day. Now you can either join their mailing list on the right here, or you can go and see them at the Jan Powers Farmers Market, Queen Street, Brisbane, every Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's a long day, isn't it? Palm Beach, Currumbin Farmers Market, it's at the PBC school, every Saturday from 6 till 12, and the Bundle Farmers Market every Sunday from 6 till 12 at Bundle Road there. Okay, now, as I said, there's a lot to get through. I'm pointing this program out to you. This is a big shout out to Dan Bongino, who did an interview with George Papadopoulos, which got me to thinking about things again. Now, I'm going to refer you back to my original video, Aussie Treason. This is my video here. Please, I'm going to put the link in the description box, and I promise that I will do it. Will you please watch this video, because that video was copied by several people because of the work that I did on it. I thank you for that, but don't rip my work off again, or I will do a copyright strike on you guys. Okay, I did a lot of work on that video, and even Stroppy Me got fooled into using my stuff via another person, which I told him about. I actually spent a lot of time, and the reason I did that video was about Alexander Downer. Okay, now this here, George Papadopoulos interview on the Dan Bongino show. It's a bloody riveting video. What you need to do is listen to the whole thing, but if you're an Australian and you want to get the lowdown on the Alexander Downer stuff, start at the 53-minute mark, okay? Because that's where they start talking about Alexander Downer and how it all went down with Alexander Downer. It is nothing like you think it is. I'm not going to play it here, but this bit, what I am going to do is go to the 1 minute 1 minute mark, and can I ask everybody in America, if you're in America, can you please contact Dan Bongino and show him this video, because at the end of it you're going to see why Alexander Downer is in deep shit. Okay, now we go to the 1 minute mark. Now George Papadopoulos is explaining, giving a brief rundown on who Alexander Downer is. Okay, now listen to this.
The meeting was not a pleasant one at all. No one was sitting there drinking or getting drunk.
Because that's important. Because I think what the New York Times wants people to believe is that you know, in a moment of drunken peak, you slipped and released this classified information. We now know you were not intoxicated as alleged in some of those pieces by the New York Times. But secondly, why do you think they invested so much of their journalistic integrity into putting out this article based on a source that there was this big conversation about you talking about emails, if both you and Downer, the two participants, both of you are saying it didn't happen? What is going on? What are we missing?
You know what? This is my theory, okay? I believe, like we said, there was a lot of disinformation. This was a disinformation campaign. This whole operation was just orchestrated to have me set up in various traps, okay? Now,
Now, I should say here, folks, that this George Papadopoulos needs a lot of credit, because they threw everything at him, including the kitchen sink, because the problem was he was supposed to submit early on and he didn't, and he just kept on going. The problem is that they'd invested so much time and effort and false narrative into George Papadopoulos that they couldn't stop the narrative. They had to keep going. So they had to keep persevering with George Papadopoulos in the vain hope that he actually said something about emails. He never did. Not once. And that's been confirmed by everybody. Okay? So just listen to this bit here. He's going to explain to you who George Alexander Downer is, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to break it down for you a little bit better.
What I really think happened is that Stephen Halper's role was to cover for Alexander Downer, so that Alexander Downer would never have to be revealed as a source for this potential fake information, okay? Because obviously there were recordings of Halper, so even if he wanted to say Papadopoulos said this, if I didn't say it, they could never have used it. So what I think happened is they found this mope, Alexander Downer, who just, for all the listeners out there, he invested $25 million into the Clinton Foundation. He was part of the uranium stuff with Russia. He's a bit...
Now, did you hear that? He's part of the uranium stuff with Russia. Okay?
Clinton ally. And I think he...
And he's enormous Clinton ally. Enormous, folks.
Was just willfully part of this group that was used to just create this fake story that Papadopoulos told me this information, and he's just...
Right. We don't need to listen to this anymore now. Dan Bongino's done a fantastic job here. I'm not trying to rip his show off. As an Australian, I listened to this and I knew automatically what had happened here. That's why I want you guys to show Dan Bongino this show. Right. Let's go through the main players here, folks, okay? Let me get rid of this. Alexander Downer is one of the highest ranking Australian political diplomats we've got. Okay? He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, blah, 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 blah. And he was the foreign minister for Australia. I think he's a record foreign minister. He went for 10 years or something. Now, he was also recently the High Commissioner to the United Kingdom from 2014 till April 2018. Okay? Now, his bosses are Malcolm Turnbull. Now, if you know anything about, I'll go to this, the Government of Australia. The Government of Australia is set up as an executive branch, okay? And if you see down here, you can read, or you can see that I've clicked on the executive, right? And how it all works. Now, Alexander Downer, as you read through all this and who does what, Executive Council, Cabinet, blah, 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 departments, okay? So, as I said, we have Alexander Downer. We have the ex-Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, who is the Chief Executive Officer, for want of a better term, of the Australian government at that time. We have Julie Bishop, who is Alexander Downer's boss, because Julie Bishop, via Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, right? The head of the department is Secretary of Department for Trade. The Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, also called DFAT, is the department of the Government of Australia with the responsibility of the foreign policy, foreign relations, foreign aid, consular services, and trade investment of the Commonwealth of Australia. Okay, so do you understand where I'm going to here? She is this guy's direct boss. He is their boss. Now, what you don't know is that this guy, a bloke called George Brandis, right, was the Attorney General at the time. Now, he is also the fourth player in this whole scenario, because he was the Attorney General at that time. He is now the Australian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Don't you think that's kind of strange? I put it to you that what happened, what I'm going to put to you, is exactly how this all played out in my mind between the four of these people and Alexander Downer meeting George Papadopoulos. Because this guy here, Alexander Downer, to be very clear to you here, two things happened here, perhaps. One, he went rogue and he was working directly for the UK government, i.e. spy agencies, or B, he was working for the Australian government through the UK spy agencies. Okay, do you understand that? He either went rogue and he was doing this by himself at the request of the UK government, which is highly illegal, folks, highly illegal. And especially seeing that he's the High Commissioner for Australia in London. Or he was working for this guy, this woman, and this bloke to gather information on from George Papadopoulos as regard to Trump and Russian collusion story. Now, you don't need to see that one, the High Commission in Canberra. Right. Now, this is where this all gets very interesting, because as I said, for Alexander Downer, there is no way that Alexander Downer could go to meet George Papadopoulos without the approval of this guy, this bird, and this bloke. I'll say that again. Unless Alexander Downer went rogue and was working directly for the UK government, which is highly illegal. It's called treason, folks. If you want to place yourself in the hands of a foreign government, especially their spy service, you are, by definition, a spy. That's a treasonous act, folks, just so you're aware of that. So if he wasn't working on his own, then this guy, Malcolm Turnbull, the Prime Minister at the time, his boss, Julie Bishop, and the guy who makes sure that everything's legal, this guy, George Brandis, all knew about it. There's no two ways about it. They all knew about it, and they knew exactly what was going on. As I said, this guy is now the High Commissioner in London. Isn't that a coincidence? Because remember, the whole secret services, everything runs around this guy, George Brandis. Do you understand that? Okay, now, if you remember, George Papadopoulos explained to us on his video that Alexander Downer was involved with the Clinton Foundation, a very hefty sum of money, 25 million that he put in personally, apparently. I'm yet to see the full facts of that. It's alleged that he gave them 25 million. I'm not sure if that's 100% true. He also was part of the Russian uranium saga. Okay, I'm going to play this bit again so you hear it again from the Dan Bongino show. Okay, listen to this.
Alexander Downer, who just, for all the listeners out there, he invested $25 million into the Clinton Foundation. He was part of the uranium stuff with Russia. He's a big Clinton ally.
Right. He was involved with the Russian uranium stuff. Now, you have to ask the question, how does George Papadopoulos know that? This is where I started to think, there's something seriously wrong here. There is something seriously wrong anyway, but this is way past the scale. So, here's where this gets really interesting. So, I'm reading about Alexander Downer on WikiLeaks. The usual blah blah blah, bullshit, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm the best bloke in the world, crap, blah blah blah. Now, here's something interesting that I didn't know about Alexander Downer. He is the person who brought forward the Nuclear Anti-Proliferation Treaty. Did you know that? I didn't know that until I read this. In 1996, Downer took the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty to the United Nations General Assembly, where it was embraced by most members of the world body. Pakistan, India, North Korea are among those who failed to ratify the treaty and went ahead in developing nuclear weapons capability. Now, this is interesting, and this may give us a reason for Downer turning on Trump and the American government. In 1999, the US Senate rejected ratification of the treaty, Downer stated. Now listen to this. This is from Downer's mouth. It's pretty hard to say on the one hand that we feel strongly about Pakistan and India nuclear testing, and on the other hand, the US Senate won't ratify the treaty. The last thing the United States wants to see is a resumption of nuclear testing or the proliferation of nuclear weapons. And it is the last thing Australia wants to see. By refusing, this is interesting, listen to this, to ratify this treaty, the United States Senate has done a lot to undermine the arms control agenda that the international community, including Australia, has been working on. I.e., you guys have stabbed me in the back. So I thought that was a rather interesting comment from the Foreign Affairs bloke of Australia at the time. Now, this is where it gets interesting, folks, and you have to go with me on this. And this is why I want you guys to actually contact Dan Bongino, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't know this. Okay, post-parliamentary career. You know, the usual bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Getting paid for doing nothing, sitting around on my fat ass, blah, 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 blah. Right. Right down here in the bottom. In 2017, it was announced that Downer would join the UK think tank Policy Exchange as chair of trustees. This is where it gets really interesting, folks. In June 2018, Downer became the executive chairman of the International School of Government at King's College London, where Downer currently lives. He is a non-executive director of CQS and Yellowcake plc. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. Who's this Yellowcake? Because my definition of Yellowcake is uranium. Guess what? Alexander Downer, this bloke, is on the board of Yellowcake plc. I'll even show you. Look. Board of Directors and Management. Woohoo! Alexander Downer. That's right. Alexander Downer is on the board of Yellowcake plc, the buyers and hoarders of uranium. You can't make this shit up, folks. So then I started to think, well, I wonder, and this is where my journalistic skills have slowed down a bit, because I can't find anything. I'm not really relevant au fait as to how to find it either. And I'm hoping someone in the States can actually get this to Dan Bongino and he can dig into it a bit. But I wouldn't mind betting that this bloke here and this company here were involved in the whole Uranium One saga. Which is why they had to get George Papadopoulos to say anything at all about emails and Trump and everything else, so that they could whitewash this whole affair. This guy here knew about it. Alexander's boss, Julie Bishop, knew about it. And as far as my ass is pointing to the ground, I can guarantee you that this guy, George Brandis, 100% knew about it, because he would have known the legalities of it all. So, let's go through that again. Alexander Downer is either A rogue UK spy working in the UK spying agencies, because if he is, he is working for the Australian government under the direction of this guy, this woman here, and this bloke here, to meet George Papadopoulos to extract information to stop what they know is coming as regards to Uranium One and all the other nefarious shitbag deals that they've done. And as I said, here he is on the board of directors of Yellowcake. Now, this is interesting. Alexander Downer has recently sold up I'm trying to find it. Has recently sold up his Australian houses. Here it is, personal life. In mid-2014, the Downers sold Brampton House in Mount George, though they intend to return to South Australia in 2017. That, to my knowledge, still hasn't happened. He's still living in the UK. Now, why would you sell up everything and go and live in the UK? Well, I would suggest to you that Alexander Downer is living in the UK because he is so shit scared about being indicted by the US government that because if he's living in Australia, we have to honour that indictment. But if he's an Australian citizen living in the UK, it's not as easy. He would have to be extradited back to Australia or arrested in the UK, thrown in jail, and then extradited. He'd have to go to court. He'd have to have an extradition hearing to go to court, have an extradition hearing, and be flown to America. This is how serious this is, folks. Are you getting this? And this is all because Alexander Downer went to a meeting with George Papadopoulos to tell the biggest lie in US political history. Alexander Downer, 100%, like I said, regardless of the fact whether he went rogue or he was working with this person, and this person to bring down the US duly elected US President of the United States. And I can guarantee you, all roads lead down the yellow brick road. Follow the Yellowcake PLC, folks. That's where this is all going to come apart. And as I said, if you can please send this to Dan Bongino, because I'm pretty sure that none of them know about this, and I have just recently found this, and I believe that this is what this is all about. This guy here is in a world of shit. And if you want my opinion, so is he, so is she, and so is he. Bloody interesting, eh, folks? Okay, folks. As usual, we'll finish with the verse of the day and then the Lord's Prayer. Give praise to the Lord, proclaim his name, make known among the nations what he has done. I'll read it again. Give praise to the Lord, proclaim his name, make known among the nations what he has done. And as always, folks, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. And let's pray this prayer today so that the truth can finally come out. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Folks, look, I've got to apologise for not showing my face today, but I'm actually lying in bed in pain. So I'm doing this from my bed because I thought it was that important to get this out. Please like, share and subscribe to everybody, please, folks. Share this as much as you can. Please get this to Dan Bongino, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't know about this, or otherwise he would have brought this up before, because he's a good investigative detective stroke journalist, if you know what I mean. So if you can get it to him, just ask him, please watch this video, okay? And the pieces, I believe, will literally fall into place after he sees the thing about Yellowcake. Alright guys, God bless, prep out.